Welcome to Inside WHS. I'm Dillon McGrath. This is Michael Ings. And for our senior project, we are diving into Wilmington High School, kind of everything about the school, how we'd change it, what we like, just to try in an attempt to try and get more kids to come here because it's getting smaller and smaller. So just a short introduction of myself. I'm obviously a senior, graduating senior. I'm going to UConn, so University of Connecticut next year. I've taken AP classes, I've taken honors, I've taken CP, I played basketball, soccer. I've been pretty involved in clubs and stuff, so I have a pretty unique perspective on the school, Ings.
Oh, yeah. Like Dylan said, I'm Michael Ings. I'm also a senior. Graduating this year, I'll be attending Plymouth State University, majoring in environmental biology and criminal justice. I also have taken a pretty wide variety of courses. I've taken mostly AP and honors courses. I've taken some elective CP courses. I've been participating in sports like football and wrestling. I'm an active member in the band, so pretty wide variety of classes and academics for me.
Yeah. So just to start us off, what was your favorite memory from WHS?
Favorite memory?
Academic or other?
Probably Miss King's class, honestly. I love that class. I don't know, this year I was AP Physics too. Last year I was in honors physics with you and Tommy and Brett and Nathan, and that was a great class. But this year was also great. Our class is just so fun. You learn a lot of things.
I was going to say, I think what was great about it is it was kind of like, it was really enjoyable. And for physics, I feel like it's important to kind of keep kids like having fun with it and stuff because it can get pretty strenuous at times. Miss King is a good example. Like, she made a good environment for us. So, like, we truly enjoyed it. So,
yeah, definitely think there's definitely a good environment throughout most of the classes at WHS.
Yeah, and I think that's honestly very important. Like, because I've had experiences with like bad teachers. I'm not going to name. Everybody knows like you get along with them better sometimes, or like teaching styles are different. There's not too many teachers I would say that are bad at the high school that I had.
No.
I would just say like sometimes you'll walk in and if a teacher's having a bad day, maybe you're a little bit like apprehensive or like you don't want to like participate or like you dissociate from the class a little bit and it hurts it. But Miss King's a good example of like the opposite.
Definitely a good example of the way that classroom environment affects the kids' teaching and their interaction with the teacher and their content that they're being taught as well.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. So like a big issue, to sort of dive into the problem here, a big issue with the high school has been kind of kids are leaving to opt to go to the tech or like private schools. And a lot of it is because of academics, because the tech, obviously you have career fields that like you can focus on. So do you think the academics at the high school needs to improve, or do you think it's in a good spot or like kind of underrated to a degree?
I think the academics is underrated.
No, I agree.
We have a pretty rigorous academic program.
Yeah.
And you can learn a lot at the high school. But I think a problem we have is a lot of kids go to the high school thinking, oh, just academic school, whatever, I'm not going to try that hard. Mm-hmm. And they end up complaining about the academic education that they're receiving, even though they're not applying themselves as much as they should be. Mm-hmm. So I definitely think we have an underrated academic program because you're going to get out of it what you put into it. So
yeah, I agree. And you see kids like who put out low work ethic, or not even like to attack work ethic, but like they're not, what's the word here? Like they're not fully into the class.
Yeah.
Or like they'll miss a homework assignment and that'll lead into them missing more homework assignments. So it'll kind of like academically they struggle a little bit. But I think that you see when you try and focus in, or at least personal experience wise, like you see certain kids focus in on certain classes and they do very well.
Yeah.
So I would agree that you get out of it what you put into it.
Yeah, I agree. And the high school definitely has a big variety of classes for people to take. You know, because some kids they apply themselves in school, but they're just not able to take those higher level courses or lower level courses, right? Mm-hmm. So I think the high school does a really good job of offering courses for all stages of learning and all levels of learning.
Yeah, I don't know what that was. I also think it's good that you'll see teachers that teach AP classes that also teach CP classes.
Yeah.
So I think it's important that kids at all levels get the same level of teaching because like especially for like CP compared to AP, it's tougher for them to learn usually.
Yeah.
So a good teacher can kind of help push them in the right direction. And also to touch on like how many classes we have. There's like a course for everything at the high school.
Yeah, there's a lot of courses and it's a very wide range. I think one thing that could improve upon is the different levels of each kind of course, and I think we could add some more courses as well.
Yeah, I think one of the problems that comes from our courses is kind of there's a little of a lot. Like
Yeah.
you'll see like ceramics, like the school's very good at like art. So they have like ceramics, they have normal art, graphic design. But then like there's one criminal justice class. There's one cooking class. Like
Yeah.
some of these potential fields for kids to go into, they don't really have enough going on. So I think that
Yeah, I agree.
if there could be more classes or like even like kids pick their classes. So if there's like a different ways or like a little, I guess you could say different bridges to go down
Yeah.
of like courses, I think that would lead to more kids coming in.
I also think there's a lot of high schools that have shop like classes, right? It's
Yeah.
not a full shop like that a vocational school would be, but it's just kind of basic life skills like for a semester or a quarter you take a machine shop or a woodworking shop, and I was thinking we have a lot of kids going into the medical field at the high school. I think we should have some elective courses that involve the medical field. And same with the criminal justice. I think we should expand the criminal justice program. I think we should really take a look at the kind of courses that could help kids get into a career, right? I
Yeah.
think because right now I feel like the high school is more of a just you learn content and then you figure out what you're going to do in college. I think the approach that should be taken is starting a path to finding a career in high school, right?
Yeah.
So offering a wide variety of electives, courses that can kind of help kids delve into different areas of the workforce and kind of figure out where they want to be.
Yeah, I agree. And were you going to say something?
No.
I think that, especially for fields like the medical field, there's a lot of classes and a lot of money that goes into getting a medical degree. So if they were to increase the amount of classes, like specifically, I think AP classes, if kids take these
Yeah.
AP classes in high school and pass the tests, they get a 4 or 5 or whatever's required.
Yeah.
They don't have to take that class. So that saves a
Potentially,
lot of
yeah.
money.
Well, and we already have that, but like to get a medical degree, you have to take a medical degree. You have to take AP Bio,
Yeah.
AP Chemistry, or like chemistry and bio in college. So taking AP Bio and AP Chemistry in high school can help with that. I just think there was like elective courses where it was more medical based, right? Instead of just the science part, it kind of got into the science, like the medical field
Yeah.
more specifically a little bit, or like the criminal justice. Like criminal justice is such a wide field, right? There was a law one. There was a what's it called? First responder kind of like cops
Yeah.
and all that. So I think like studying that kind of stuff. I just really think the high school offers a lot of classes that can help you for college. I just think how can they help with an overall career and planning for that as well,
Yeah.
and then just the extra step of preparing our students even more for that next level of life.
Yeah, whether it be through like a guide, like I don't know if guidance counselors are required to like help with picking future careers or looking into that stuff, or like they could do it through like advisory or W-2.
Yeah.
Like they could have sessions where they kind of have you meet with people and kind of catch where your head at, because there wasn't a lot of support in that aspect.
Yeah,
Which-
again, it was very college oriented, like go to college, not really what do you want to do as a career or all that.
Yeah, I agree. I think it was more, they focused more on helping us pick colleges, which is good. The support they had for
Yeah.
picking colleges and like scholarships and all that is awesome. My guidance counselor, shout out Miss Caggiano, she's
Yep.
awesome.
Miss O'Mara, shout out. A lot of help for us.
Yeah,
Very big support
time.
system.
Big time.
Especially like when you talk to them about the kind of college and environment that you want to be in and the courses that you want to take, they're really good at saying, oh, check out this college, right? They're not saying, oh, this is a really perfect match, but they're saying this is a good potential place for you to go. And Miss O'Mara told me about Plymouth State, right? I went up, saw the mountains, small school, which I liked,
Yeah.
great science program. So I was like, all right, this is the place for me. But
yeah.
like, I just think we can kind of take that and move it towards more career. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do.
Like, great support system for college, and then that next step of education. I just think, how can we kind of take that attitude and keep that attitude of the next level of education, but kind of move it into the career path? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I honestly think if I were to suggest a change to the high school in that kind of region, I think it should be done through advisory, just because
yeah.
these guidance counselors are booked full, like almost
I
every
agree.
day.
Or even have a committee of a career center, right? Have
100%.
have it like make our own career center of a not because obviously like you said the counselors are already overloaded with colleges and
Yeah.
the students they have already. So having a career center with a staff that is their specific job is to help kids kind of dive into a career opportunity that they may want or just find interest. I think that would be very beneficial.
Yeah, because I think the big question mark surrounding the high school, if I had to guess, like if you're a parent of an 8th grade kid and you're like, where should I send this kid to school? When you look at the academics, I think we put out very good
Yeah.
student products. I mean, you have like Audrey LeConte going to Yale.
Yeah. In a program that 10 kids get
10 kids get
something like
get to
that.
go
Yeah.
there. Crazy.
Small
You have
number
kids
of
going to
kids.
Northwestern, Brown.
Yeah. We have we have really good academics and kids do a really good job of building their futures and working hard. But I just think high school they do a good job at the next level of education.
Mm-hmm.
How can we do the workforce or not just the workforce, but a career path?
Yeah, I honestly think, as we already touched on, obviously, I think it's important that the high school looks to kind of expand from like such a formal English, math, science,
A very
history thing.
core classes based.
I mean, everybody has to take core classes, but there should be electives that expand on these classes.
They're very to the book about the core classes, and they focus on those. I think we should keep those, but just expand it a little more.
Yeah, and I also think to a degree it's on the kids a little bit because we pick the courses. So you'll have kids, and I've done this, everybody's done this. You've picked classes that are like kind of easier.
Yeah.
And people will continue to do that. But if you want to go into a field, and again, this is where I think it would be important to include AP classes.
Yeah.
Just to motivate, like, say there was an AP criminal justice class, and if you got a 4 or a 5, you could not have to take a class in college. That would be really huge for kids who are interested in the field. It would motivate them not to pick these. Like
I would have taken that class because I'm looking to go into criminal justice.
Exactly. So it would motivate people not to pick the easy class, push themselves a little more, and potentially get rewarded down the line.
Yeah. Do you want to touch on the easy classes that are given at the high school? So we've kind of talked about classes we would add. Are there any classes we think could do a little better with the content they have already and what we're experiencing in some of the electives that we have here at the high school?
Yeah. So honestly, I think most of the classes that are like considered easy, I think it comes down to teaching.
I agree.
Because they're not required to do as much, which, I mean, it shouldn't be the expectation that you do the most. You don't have to like spend every hour of every day because, I mean, teachers are people too, obviously. But I think some teachers aren't reaching the standards. Obviously, we're not going to say any teachers in specific.
Yeah. But there are definitely electives that need to be looked at and say, what are these kids doing in these classes? Are they actually learning things? Because there's a certain course at the high school that could be really beneficial to students, and
everybody takes it. I think it's required.
It is a required course. Every single kid in this high school that has gone through WHS has taken this class, and I think most kids don't learn anything. I took this class sophomore year, I think it was, and I don't remember anything from it because we didn't do anything.
My experience in it wasn't horrible because I had a different teacher than you. I think.
True.
I'm not going to say any names just because.
But
but one of the teachers who teaches this is very good.
Yeah. And I think it depends on the teacher. And I think we need to look at the teaching styles because, I mean, obviously, sometimes it's the students not putting in effort because these kids do take classes. They take these electives because they say, oh, well, I can get by without doing any work, right? But I think at some point, the teachers kind of have to be looked at and say, all right, this teacher's not doing what they should be. providing the curriculum that they should be, because I applied myself in that class. I did every assignment, and I still didn't learn anything.
Yeah, see, that's a letdown. And also, I think we should make it clear this is like the minority of teachers, like the
This is
like the
The
5%.
0.01% of the
Yeah,
high school.
like most teachers, I've had
all my classes, I've learned-
99%
yeah.
of like good interactions with. But for example, in this class we're talking about, it's a required class. It's skills that every single person needs in the future.
And I also think we could add that more courses like that, not just career-based courses, but life skills courses. Because I don't know, I feel like besides this one class, you don't really offer a lot of courses that deal with living independently or being an adult.
Yeah.
So I think the high school could do better with offering those kind of classes.
Yeah, and speaking on another class similar to this, which I will say what class it is because it's not the teacher's fault in this class, I don't think. Independent living.
Yeah.
I took it this year because I was like, oh, I should probably try and get prepared for college, like get an experience of like what I need to do, like the responsibilities that come with living
Yeah.
alone. And I honestly did like, there's not much that you would like what you would expect from the class is not what you get. It
Yeah.
talks about like, it was more focused on like, at the beginning of the year, it was about picking a college. Then it was
Yeah.
kind of about like roommates and the importance of roommates. But I was expecting and hoping to learn, like, how do I take care of myself? How do I stick to a schedule?
Yeah.
How do I cook even to a degree? Like stuff like that. I mean, I know how to cook, but like, you know
Yeah,
what I'm
so do
saying?
I.
Like the little
Yeah.
things that everybody has to
We-
be able to do.
We know how to cook, but there are some kids that do not know their way around a kitchen at all.
Oh my God, so many.
Obviously, we have a cooking class here at the high school, but I think they can expand upon that too. A lot of kids that take that class, they love it and enjoy it. It's a fun class.
Awesome.
I think they could expand that as well and kind of go into more advanced ways of cooking.
Yeah, and you cook the basics in there. It's like pizza, like pasta.
Yeah, it's very basic food.
I think, back to what we said earlier, honestly, I think the curriculums kind of need to change in some of these electives. And they're only half-year classes, so you can only do so much.
Yeah.
So we're kind of like looking at it in the pessimistic light, but we'll get to the positive light in a minute.
Yeah.
But for kids who want to go down like a culinary field, like there's one kid who, in our grade, Luis Gunera, I don't know if you remember him.
I do.
Shout out Luis.
Love you, Luis.
He's going to, I don't remember the name of the college, but he's going to be like a culinary, like a chef.
Yeah.
And he didn't go to the high school because,
The culinary
mean-
program's not on par.
there was no reason for him to go to the high
Yeah.
school. And I think that's a perfect example of a kid who probably would have gone to the high school if the opportunity had shown up.
Yeah. Yeah, again, we have the very little classes that don't do enough to teach the kids what they need to. And I don't know, it's upsetting because I still don't know how to file taxes. Like, if someone said, hey, here's your tax return, I'd be like, what is this?
Yeah, I'd
I'd be like, oh,
I'd call up my mom to come
yeah,
help me with
Dad,
that.
what's going on?
Yeah.
Show me the ropes. But I took a class that was based on that. So
Yeah. No,
but
it's
again,
disappointing,
you
but
had different experience with different teachers. So
no, yeah,
again, that's like my experiences with the 0.01, the bottom 1% of the.
yeah. No, my teacher was good, and she honestly, she tried. Like, I'll give her credit. She did a good
Yeah,
job of
yeah.
what she could, but I think it comes down to curriculum. And the school doesn't
yeah.
necessarily get to pick the curriculum, obviously.
Yeah,
It's like
exactly.
state required, I think. So it's not necessarily the school's fault for some of these classes, but I think that there should be more, whether it be more interaction, more projects,
Yeah.
more ways to get the kids
There are
wanting
ways
to learn.
to push the subjects more and kind of get kids engaged in learning more.
Yeah.
Like, obviously, you got to stick to curriculum at some point, but I think you can expand the curriculum a little bit or branch off from the curriculum and really push the subjects.
Yeah, and again, as we said, the curriculum is not really controlled by the school.
Yeah.
But I think there's ways that the school could go about more elective classes. You could expand culinary arts into multiple classes,
Yeah.
like a culinary arts 1, culinary arts 2, kind of, again, shining more respect on the arts program at the high school.
Oh, yeah.
They have ceramics 1, ceramics 2,
yeah.
ceramics 3, studio art.
Even like the performing arts, there's music theory, honors jazz band, concert band, marching band, strings, theater. There's so many, like the performing arts and arts program at the high school is very big. So
Yeah.
a lot of kids that come to the high school come here because of performing arts and arts.
Yeah, and I have a little cousin who's in 6th grade now. Oh my God, that's scary.
Getting old.
And
John.
she's like, I see her like at the Shawsheen Field on the weekend, and she's like, "Oh, did you go to the school play?" Like these middle schoolers know about the play.
Yeah.
Elementary kids know about the plays. I think it's really important that this stuff needs to be focused on
Yeah.
because our like theater programs and our art programs are very good.
Yeah, and imagine if we did that with other programs as well, right? Not just our performing arts. We cater to that very well. We have a very expansive performing arts and arts program. Imagine if we expanded our elective program, right? Our life skills program.
Yep.
Kids could come here. They could come here and become very well-rounded people. I mean, obviously we already produce those, but we could bring that to the next level.
Yeah, I agree. And I also think it would be good for parents of kids to see because ultimately they're the ones who make these decisions.
Exactly.
So if the school was to gain a reputation for like good like managing money classes, living like independent living classes,
Career path classes.
exactly, it would motivate them. They'd be like, "Oh, this is a good option. This is the best option compared to like
Exactly, because the parents would see, hey, this school will provide my kid with not just a further education path, but any path, right? I think we could kind of, obviously, we're not trying to get the tech to close down here, but obviously some kids, they want to learn life skills and all that without having to go to a tech school. They want to keep that academic thing. If a parent can see, hey, the high school will give my child a really good academic program, they'll be learning a lot, very good education, as well as learning these basic life skills of how to fix things, take care of themselves, manage themselves.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I also think it's important to target all kids here because kids will have different work ethics, different levels
Yeah,
that they
exactly.
want to do this. So we
Yeah.
have to make sure
That
as a
comes with
school that at the AP, honors, and CP levels,
all those levels need to be
the
offered.
support. Because all the levels of classes, I honestly think, are very good,
Yeah,
especially teachers-wise.
yeah, I agree.
Because I've taken a couple CP, mostly just electives, but the teachers have been good. Like I have no
Yeah.
complaints, and especially in the AP levels. Honestly, at the AP levels, I've maybe seen the worst teaching.
Really, I think so. Well, the thing is, I think that's when the best and the worst are really separated. If you
Yeah.
ask me.
No,
That's-
I agree.
That's when that's when you can tell where the next level teachers are.
100%.
Because obviously when there's teachers, it's their first year teaching an AP class.
Yeah, I was gonna say that.
You gotta come on, you gotta have some slack for that because
100%.
if you're new at anything, it takes time to get used to it and become really good at it. So I think as long as they're legitimately qualified to teach the class and they're trying their best and really trying to put out a good curriculum and course for their students, I think this is their first year. It's a little rocky, fine, whatever. As long as they're seeing improvement throughout the year. And as the years go by, as they're teaching the classes, but there are definitely teachers that continue to not do amazing at teaching AP courses.
Yeah,
And that's a very small population of the teachers. Almost all of the AP classes I've had have been very good teachers that are dedicated to the curriculum and to really helping us not just learn and memorize, but to understand what we're learning and
Yeah.
really be able to apply it to our lives.
I also think it's I think it's individual based
Yeah.
too, because there are certain teachers that I've had that I've loved and other
Oh,
kids have
100%.
hated.
Yeah. Again, I think that kind of comes with the kid's attitude towards school. Because obviously, if you go into a class like, oh, this class stinks, I'm not gonna try this class.
Yeah.
The teacher's trying to get you to try. If you have that clashing of differences of views, obviously there's gonna be some difficulty. But
Yeah.
I don't know.
I also think I agree, but I also disagree on the fact that sometimes I don't think it's the kids' fault necessarily. Some people you just don't get along with, or
Yeah, I
some
agree.
teaching styles just simply don't work for you.
Yeah.
But that's where it comes down to maybe going after class, visiting in W2, talking to like other kids in the class, and I
Yeah.
think that support is what high school is really good on, especially through
Oh,
W2.
100%. That definitely, that teacher-student connection and that support system that the teachers have for their students is very good. All of my teachers, if you make the effort to try and learn more and work hard, they see that and they'll help you. If you say, I don't understand this, can we work together and can you please help me to learn this? They'll be like 100%. Like I'll make time to sit down with you one-on-one and we'll work through this together and we'll help you out. So many teachers at the high school have been like that for me.
Yeah, and one class that I kind of want to highlight that was very good for that, I was AP Calculus this year.
Yeah.
I'm sure you've heard stories from kids.
So many stories.
It's not
an easy class.
Not easy at all. It was like probably the hardest class I've taken.
I heard
in
the
high
test
school.
was really hard.
The test was really hard, but I think we were very over-prepared for it because we did a lot harder problems in class than what was usually on the test. It's just there's so much you have to know in calculus that it's like to kind of fit it down.
Calculus is a very broad subject.
Yes, but and the teacher saw us struggling. Like he knew that this is a tough test, and I think he's a first or a second year teaching the class.
I don't remember.
So he's somewhat new. At least the teacher that I had, I don't know. I don't think there's another teacher, but there was before. And he was, especially towards the last couple of weeks, he was very good at he held Zoom sessions. He held sessions after class, W2s. I was in there every other W2 for the whole class, just working on it. So I think that's just a testament to how much you apply yourself really can dictate your performance in the class. And that's only one of my classes too.
Yeah, exactly. Because again, like you said, the amount that you apply yourself really dictates what you get out of it because the support system is there, right? The teachers are willing to work with you and to help you go to the next level of that education and learning the content. You just need to put yourself out there and want to do that.
Yeah. No, I 100% agree.
Definitely comes with the strive to do better because the teachers will do it. They'll help you get there.
Even the bad teachers are willing to help. And by bad teachers, I mean teachers you don't get along with.
Yeah, exactly.
Teachers
that you
don't know as well as you may know some of the other teachers.
Yeah.
Also, just, I don't know how to put it into words, but every teacher has given me the opportunity to, if I need help, I can have it. If I say I miss a homework, I forgot a homework or something, most of them have ways for me to get points back or pass it in late for half credit or something like that. And I think that's good because the focus of high schoolers, at least from what I've experienced, is all on grades and not necessarily on the learning.
I agree, which I think is that creates a very big problem.
Yeah.
Again, with the thing, students are like, oh, well, I'm taught to learn and memorize this content. I'm not taught to actually understand it and be able to apply it to my life. When they're so worried about their grade and not applying themselves and actually understanding it that they just end up cheating on things, passing things in late because they don't want to do it. It really comes back to that. Are the students getting the results that they're putting the work in for, right?
Yeah, and I honestly think most of the time, I would say, you get the results when you put the work in. Most of my classes, I can't think of an example of me trying incredibly hard on a class and getting a grade that I'm not
happy with.
Happy with is different because.
Oh yeah, I know what you mean.
But a grade that I'm disappointed in, that's never happened.
One great example is Miss King's class. That class is so hard.
Yeah.
AP Physics 2, hardest class I've ever taken. It's so confusing. But I try my hardest and I go to extra help. And I go in for corrections. I go in, we look for extra credit opportunities. And Miss King gives it to us because she sees how hard we're working. And she knows that we're trying our best to legitimately understand the content and not just get by with an A. Miss King always tells us, do your best in the class and work as hard as you can. Don't worry about your grade. I'll take care of that. If I see that you're trying your best to learn what I'm trying to teach you, your grades will be fine.
Yeah.
And it really helps relieve that. Like you said, a lot of kids are stressed out about their grades. It's really a great stress reliever because I know, when I go into a test and I'm kind of iffy about it, I don't have to be going in nervous about my grade. Maybe it'll fall for a little bit, But I know I can bring it back up if I apply myself after the test and try and go back and learn and understand what I didn't before.
Yeah, and as a little transition here, we were kind of a little bit at the beginning. We were kind of talking about like the bottom 1% of teachers.
Yeah.
I think it's also even like way more important.
Talk about like the top 99.9.
I mean, it's just some of these teachers are awesome. For example, Miss King,
This kid, great
nicest
teacher.
lady ever.
Yeah.
She makes you like good teachers make you want to
Mm.
get extra help. They make you feel like you can go to extra help.
Yeah.
Where if you have a
Very
teacher that
inviting.
you don't get along with, not very friendly maybe, or like you just don't like the way they teach you is kind of like, you know what I'm saying, like the vibe of the classroom even
Yeah.
can discourage you from wanting to go to extra help.
Yeah.
Or like wanting to like raise your hand in class or something like that.
Yeah, exactly. I agree 100%. But I will say there are definitely more teachers in the high school that make me want to go seek them help.
Oh, yeah,
or
for
inviting than are not. Like I'll just do a little shout out right now. Like you said, Miss King,
Yeah.
Miss Bellavia, she has completely turned me around with English. I used to despise English class. It was my least favorite class ever. I did not enjoy English whatsoever. Miss Bellavia has completely changed that for me. I enjoy her class, and I enjoy the content that she teaches, and she makes me want to learn English and apply myself in that class. She's really changed my view of English, and she's done a really good job of just teaching and being there for me and helping me, because I struggled a lot this
Yeah.
year. I'm not a great writer, but she was very inviting and welcoming for extra help, and I took the opportunity, and I became a much better writer.
Yeah, something that she does very well that I have also noticed, like she was the first situation. I took her class last year, I think,
Yeah.
but I had also gone to her for extra help before because like friends had her before and they were
Yeah.
like, oh, she'd help you. She's very good at giving honest,
Yes,
pure
she's very.
feedback. And
And I think kids need that, because if they're being told, oh, well, this is good, there's some improvement that can be made, whatever, I think that they're not going to improve as when they hear, hey, you did a good job, but there's still a lot of work that needs to be done, and here's what it is, and yes, you messed up in these places, but now I'm going to help you fix that, and I'm going to teach you why, and I'm going to help you grow. And that's what Miss B does a really good job of.
yeah, and I also think that's something, at least from talking with kids from other schools, I've really heard that teachers at the high school, for like on the wavelength of like giving honest and good feedback, extra help as we've been talking about, it's just that's something that the high school I think has over other schools, the personalized like experience.
There's definitely a very good connection. You can build a really good relationship with your teachers, which can result in a much further advanced education because of that.
Yeah, and like I'll see some of the teachers like out in town. Like
Yeah.
I see Maloney like every weekend at the Shaw Sheen Field.
What's up, Maloney? Yeah, well, I mean, he lives in town. His kids are active in the community. He's active in the community.
It's good.
Yeah,
Like,
it's good.
And I've had him for 3 years, so it's
Yeah.
now like I went to Germany a couple weeks ago with the school.
Yeah.
He was the one running the trip. Like it was awesome
Yeah.
because I feel like I'm honestly was like friends with him. I was like, oh, I'm going
Yeah.
to Germany and my friend's running the trip.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know. There's a very big community feel at the high school. The teachers are very involved with the student body and making sure that they're there for them and helping them out whenever they can.
Yeah, and I also think that comes back to academics in a way because the
100%.
classes.
The class environment will produce the teaching, right? Or the learning.
Yeah.
Bad classroom environment will lead to not such great learning from the students, right?
Mm-hmm.
If they go into a class and the teacher's very negative, right? There's like, oh, great, another week, here we go, how to teach this content, right?
Yeah.
The kids are gonna be like, oh, great, another week, here we go, I have to learn this content. But if the teacher's like, all right, another week, we get to learn this, let's be excited about this, I'm excited about this, right? The students are gonna see that and they're gonna feel the same way about their content.
I agree. And there's been classes that like literally there's one class. I'm not going to drop the class, but
Yeah.
you might be able to guess. I don't know if you've ever taken it. But there's classes where you take notes all class and then you go home and you have to take notes for homework.
Yeah.
Like this
I think I know
multiple
what you're
classes
I think
like
I know what
that.
you're talking about. Yeah.
My teacher, I took the class this year. My teacher was very nice. She always happy, always positive, always
Yeah.
just like in a good mood, and it made taking notes not a horrible experience.
Yeah. And I think there are not very many classes like that.
Yeah.
And one thing I've noticed about the high school is that it's a very collaborative and engaged learning environment.
Yeah, I was going to say also about the classes. I feel like the community aspect that we were talking about,
Yeah.
I have made, perfect example is me and you. I have made some
100%.
very good friends through classes.
Yeah, exactly.
Directly through classes.
No, I agree.
Through projects, maybe sitting next to people.
Well, it's because even just, yeah, like we just sitting next to people because we're allowed to work with one another and help one another with our schoolwork, right? And we like a lot of my classes, it's you learn a lesson, right? But then you do practice. You do a lot of practice, but you're able to work with one another and really help one another understand it. I mean, if you remember back to our pre-calc class, I helped a lot of kids would come over to our desk and help, like ask for help.
Yep.
And we would go to them for help as well. Like we were all just helping one another, and it built a really good sense of community within our classes and just helped us become better friends with one another. And even just we were able to learn better because we heard different views and perspectives of what kids were struggling with, what they were taking out of the lesson.
Yeah, I also think one thing I've noticed is I notice not mistakes more, but like if I'm looking through for example, if I'm looking through somebody else's writing, I can notice a lot more in there. Like I can notice the mistakes in their writing better than I realize them in mine.
Yeah.
Like I'll gloss over
and
them.
A lot of times I'll be like, oh, well, they made a mistake there. Oh, I did the same thing. So then, I go and fix it myself, and then I help them understand why they did it. I understand it myself why I made that mistake. It just ends up for a better overall experience of the classroom and learning what I'm being taught.
Yeah, and not even just in my English classes, but like classes where you have to write long essays, like U.S. history, for example, or like world history. There's a lot of proofreading involved, like from other people, like classmates, and I think it's been very helpful in me realizing how do I get better at this, to the point where now where I'm writing scholarships, I'm like the first thing I think of is like, who can I have read this for me?
Yeah.
Which is good. I think that's something that the high school has done good.
Yeah, again, there's a very big, we talked about that support system from the teachers, but there's definitely a support system within the student body about helping each other learn and do better with their education.
100%. And
I think when parents are looking at the high school and they're like, oh, should I send my kid here? I think that aspect of the community and we all help one another learn and become educated and to really understand the content, I think that's another thing to look at when we tend to say, all right, that's why I want my kid to go there.
Yeah, and the community also does well at kind of, how do I say this? So high school, I view high school as like two things. This is just my view. I see it as like a step towards college, like prepares you for college, but also helps you figure out yourself.
Oh, I agree.
Because it's a time where you kind of figure out things you like, things you don't like. You just kind of become yourself a little bit. You mature. I think that's a good way to put it.
That's a good way to put it, yeah.
I think the community does a good job at helping you figure out yourself. Because you learn what you like through the people you meet in the classes, the teaching styles, to the point where I'm going to a huge school. Like UConn's not a small school.
No, it's a big school.
I've had the personalized experience, and I think it's prepared me to be able to go out on my own and not need that personalized experience.
Yeah, you see, I'm kind of I want to say the opposite.
Yeah.
But like to me, when I was looking for college, I was looking for a smaller school because I like being able to make that connection with my professor or teacher. I want to be able to have a smaller classroom environment where I can get to know all my classmates. Right? When you're in a class of 300 people, you're not gonna get to know everyone. Your professor to the professor, you're just another paper that he's grading.
A number.
Yeah, exactly. Which obviously, like you said, for some people, they like that, right?
Yeah, like I'm
you're
not
okay
afraid of it. I think what's good about it.
But you've learned that through your experience at the high school. For
100%.
me, I've learned that, okay, I enjoy a smaller class size. I enjoy that community, that tight community of classmates and with my teacher. My experience at the high school was able to help me kind of know what to look for, what I was looking for in college and what I would enjoy in college.
Yeah, and I also think what the community is kind of Wilmington and Wilmington High School in specific, I've learned that I can go to a big school. I can live in a big town, and I can make it feel smaller through
100%.
friends, through interacting with teachers. And I also think it's good because being comfortable going for extra help, being comfortable going to your guidance counselor has made me feel like I'm ready to go to a big school and I can still go up and talk to the teacher.
Yeah.
I have the confidence to be able to like
Make that
get
connection.
extra help, go to tutoring if I need it,
Yeah.
make connections. That way it doesn't really matter that I'm a number. If
Yeah.
I can make a personal relationship, then I'll be fine. And
Yeah.
especially after having good relationships with teachers at the high school, that's kind of what has made me comfortable with this and kind of looking forward to being able to do that.
Yeah, I definitely think the high school helps prepare you to grow as a person and put yourself out there and really apply yourself. Because, like you said, the teachers will help you, but only if you ask for it, right?
100%.
Teachers at the high school, they're not going to chase you around. Like, obviously, if you're struggling really bad, and they'll say, "All right, do you want some help?" But they're not going to say, "Hey, come do your corrections. Hey, come do this, come do that." You have to put yourself out there, and I think it really prepares you to, like you said, no matter what kind of college you go to, it prepares you to put yourself out there and really advance take initiative for yourself to advance your academics.
100%.
Because, like we said, like your academics is kind of what you get out of your schooling is what you put into it, and how you apply yourself.
Yeah. And I honestly think that some of the classes I feel like everybody has had a class at the high school that has made them more interested in academics.
Yeah.
For example, freshman year, I mean, I applied myself. I took like classes that I was like a little bit more challenging than I had in like, say, middle school, because those are just the default classes, right? But I feel like that everybody's had a class or multiple classes that have made them want to get more actively involved. And I think if there's more classes that can be like that for kids,
Yeah.
more kids will get involved. Because the classes that did that for me were like, for example, sophomore year AP US History. It was the first AP I ever took,
Yeah.
and I loved it.
I
So
took-
I wanted to take more. I think there should be classes like that at every level. I don't
I
know if there's
agree.
any CP classes for you or honors for you that have done that. I don't know.
Not that I can think of right now, but I'll comment on the AP. I took AP Bio and AP US History my sophomore year. AP Bio,
Yeah.
I mean, it was hard because most of it was hybrid, so we didn't really get a lot of lab time. But at the end of the year, as restrictions kind of loosened up, we were able to do more in-person labs. I really enjoyed being engaged in that class and being in that classroom environment, and it kind of launched my great interest in the science field. And that's one of the reasons why I want to go into environmental biology, because I want to have that. I love nature, obviously. I'm a big outdoor guy.
Yeah.
And I want to be able to understand, right, and be able to work with the environment. So, yeah,
Yeah.
definitely an engaging classroom environment has helped me kind of figure out what kind of career path I want to go into.
Yeah. And I honestly think that they're kind of like, to go in the reverse of what you just said, there's a lot of classes that I think should be able to give kids like, I want to do this.
But they don't.
But there aren't, either the classes aren't well enough like developed because
Or
they're
there's-
recent in the school's history, or they're just, the
There's not-
curriculum doesn't work, the teacher doesn't work.
I also think that there's not, like you said, there's not a high enough level of that class
Yes, I agree.
for that to happen. Because I think
Yeah.
a lot of times CP classes, they're so focused on helping the kids learn that they're not able to add that next step of engaging them or expanding their interest in the field. So now I think maybe that's a cause for change, right? How can the lower level classes not just to learn and teach, but to engage and create interest?
Yeah, and
think-
another problem I have experienced with CP classes, and not even taking the CP class, just CP classes in general, is from junior to senior year, I really wanted to take astronomy. Like, I was like, okay, this seems so cool to me. Like, I want to be able to do this. There's only one class, I think. And so it wasn't like a career field type thing that I could like dive into a bunch of classes and be like, oh, do I like this? But I was interested in it, so I wanted to take it. But obviously for transcripts and stuff, you have to balance, like APs obviously look much better for colleges compared to a CP level class. And
Well,
with
even
some of
if
the
you get honors.
colleges, yeah.
If you want to be taking 5 AP tests in May, even just like an honors class, it still looks good on your transcript, but you're still able to take that elective that you're not maybe don't want to completely dive yourself into, but you're still interested and want to try it out.
The problem for me, which is kind of again, I think that kind of goes against what you just said, was I'm looking at the science classes. We were in Miss King's class last year.
Yeah.
Remember she was handing out the
Yep,
sheet?
the sheet.
I wanted to take astronomy, but it was only in CP. And so I was texting my mom and everything. I was like, I don't know how this is going to work with my schedule. Like, how would this look for
Yeah.
some of the colleges that I'm applying to?
Do you wish there was an honors course
or
for anatomy?
Or an AP?
Even an AP?
Just because it's like,
Yeah,
it's
but-
hard to balance keeping your transcript looking
Yeah,
good for colleges
I
while
agree.
also taking classes you're interested
Yes.
in.
And that's why I think like even just the simple honors course, it's a higher level, but it's not such a high level that you're taking away from,
Prioritizing it.
yeah, you're prioritizing it and taking away from the classes that you want to prioritize. So that's why I think that kind of comes in handy.
If there was an honors astronomy class, I would have taken that this year.
Yeah.
150%.
100%.
But I couldn't do
yeah.
it, which is disappointing. And like,
Which I think that comes with like expanding our elective courses and expanding those kinds of not just career but interest-based classes and life classes. Because let's be honest, astronomy is a pretty cool class, but it's also a very important class to know.
and it's complicated. It's not an easy class. So I think that there should be ways for the school to expand,
And enhance it in certain ways.
especially with like recent technology and increased interest in that area. I think that there will definitely be opportunities for the school to expand it, maybe make an astronomy 1, astronomy 2, or even just move it up to honors or AP. So
I agree. Yeah.
yeah, no, and I think one of the big things that the school should focus on going forward, like as a suggestion to the school, kind of, I think as the years advance, and if the school continues to get smaller and smaller, I don't know if they will be able to do this because of like money issues, payroll issues. But I think the more classes they can offer, the more teachers that they can have specialized on certain fields, I think that will definitely help
Or even-
expand these classes.
Even just supporting their teachers and going out and becoming more knowledgeable in different fields, right? Like obviously you may have to hire a few more teachers, but
Yep.
even just helping the teachers that we have already, that they may want to expand. They may want to help expand this kind of program for us, for the community in the town of Wilmington. Support them and going out and like
Pursuing,
maybe
like-
pursuing these
Yeah.
these different areas of being able to teach, right? So they can help teach more classes and all that.
Yeah, 100%. Because
I
I've
think
heard of schools that will like pay for teachers to get degrees,
Yeah, in order
stuff
to
like
help
that.
a
And that's
program.
again, it's a public school,
Yeah.
so you won't see that. I wouldn't expect that at least, but I
Yeah.
think there should be ways to support teachers branching out and learning more classes, or
Yeah.
even just giving teachers who specialize. I'm sure there's a teacher at the high school. Probably, I don't know who the astronomy teacher is, but that's just.
King.
Is it really?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh my God. See, like that's exactly what I'm talking about. I never knew that. If there was more
think it's the
astronomy classes, Miss King could potentially dive into that. And she's
Mm-hmm.
a teacher that could make somebody who is interested in astronomy, could make them want to go into a career
Yeah,
field like
exactly. I just think it comes with if we show that if the teachers have that support and they're able to take that initiative to kind of expand their own knowledge so they can teach more variety of classes and we can offer more classes. I think you brought up the problem that we don't have enough kids to come here. I think that would solve the problem of kids will come here if we offer more variety of classes and help them, like you said, find a field that they may want to go into.
that. Yeah. No, I 100% agree with everything you just said. I mean, that kind of summed up my thoughts on the topic right there.
Yeah. And it's just very important that when parents look at WHS, they see, and not even just parents, but the students that potentially want to go here, when they look at other places, they say, like, Wilmington High School is the best place for me to go in order to have the most successful career and beneficial, like, high school experience that I could have.
Yeah, I think it's a matter of
I think the high school is, right, like, the high school has that aspect to it. I just think it's not advertised. One part, it's not advertised enough, and two, they can do even more to add to it and really put themselves above other schools, private and vocational.
Yeah. I think, honestly, if I was to make any suggestions to the school on attacking the issue of why is the school shrinking, How can we get kids to come back? Obviously, like kids are gonna go where their friends go in high school. Some kids just do
Sometimes,
that.
yeah.
And I bet that accounts for 20 or 30 kids. I think a lot of kids would come back again if we attack like curriculum, stuff like that.
Yeah.
But also, I think the school should really focus on giving kids classes, like expanding more classes. Like again, I'll dive into astronomy again. That's just going to be my example for this episode. If there were more classes similar to that,
Yeah.
that could increase a kid's likeliness in going into that field, over the years, people will come to the school to go to these developed branches
Yeah,
of like
exactly. Like we said, like a career center, that would be awesome for the high school.
Awesome.
Having a way where kids can start diving into different ways or different interests they have and figure out what they want to do for the rest of their lives, and having courses that support that, that would really be a big attraction for WHS.
I agree. I do think it would be tough for the school to be able to pull off building that, not like building
Yeah.
it, but like
And obviously it would take time, but
I'm trying to, yeah. A lot of these solutions that we're offering are like long term.
that is true.
I'm trying to think of like a short term, like,
I think a short term is just improving the curriculum we have now and the electives that we offer. Start
Yeah.
with that and then build off of, and then expand from there.
yeah, I think there's been a lot of teacher talk in the past couple of years of like, are these teachers good enough?
Other teachers that are actually doing their jobs.
Like bringing teachers in, they're trying to bring new teachers in and get rid of some of the old ones.
Yeah.
I think that's good because they're finding new things, but I also think naturally as teachers get older and retire and stuff, I think there should be a more strict, I don't know how to phrase it. Like I feel like there should be a deeper dive into teachers broadly because and like their broad knowledge of multiple topics rather than like, can this person teach physics? It should be
Yeah.
like, can this person teach physics and something else? Because that will help
Like
set
Miss
up
King.
these
She's
other
teaching
classes.
physics and astronomy.
Yeah, like there should be more things like that
Yeah.
because Miss King can't teach for another 200 years. She's already
wish.
taught for so many.
Miss King's the best, one of the best teachers out there. I wish she could teach forever.
Exactly, like that'd be good.
I
But
think every teacher should every kid should have a teacher like Miss King.
100%.
If you go to high school, you have the opportunity.
Exactly.
But
But
there's
yeah.
a lot of teachers at the high school like Miss King as well.
Oh yeah, and like this is just we just had a good experience with her. Obviously,
Yeah.
most people I couldn't name anyone who's had a bad
I've
experience
never
with
heard
her.
someone who's like, oh, I dislike Miss King.
But there's teachers that I've never had that people
Yeah.
say are their favorite teachers, like Mr. Randall. Everyone
Never
loves
had
Mr.
Mr.
Randall. Everyone loves him though.
Yeah, I know. And I only
Mr. Riley too. I know you're a big Mr. Riley guy. I've
big
never
Mr.
had
Riley
him.
guy. He's such a great guy.
I've never had him.
I never had him for class, but I've had him he was my wrestling coach and mock trial leader. Great guy. I love wrestling so much. I did it for 1 year, and he has made me love that class. And I really think that kind of speaks to the environment that teachers put in their classrooms. And
Yeah.
the environment that they put kids in will really affect the way kids see their schooling.
Yeah, and I think the school does a good job of kind of keeping these teachers
On top of that,
100%. The school, especially with Gendron. I don't even know how to say his name. But
Gendron.
he's been awesome since he's got here
Yeah.
at kind of keeping teachers and students wanting to do
high
stuff at the high
spirits.
school.
Yeah.
We'll dive into that, I believe, next episode. In the athletics episode, we'll talk about like events
A
and
little bit of
stuff
school
like
spirit.
that. School spirit.
Yep.
But yeah, so the teachers and the principal, obviously, I think they've, especially in the past year, I've seen a lot of good changes.
Oh, there's been a lot of improvement.
And I think now more than ever, I think the school has an opportunity to just continue to get better because obviously with COVID, it was kind of like,
Yeah.
I don't know
A
what they
little
could
bit
do.
of setback, but
But they're going in the right direction, and I think they're running with it. So.
I think what we talked about today is just ways that they can help improve that right direction. I think they're going in the right direction, but I think these are things that will bring them to the next level in both the short term and the long term.
Yeah, I was going to say we're suggesting a lot of change, but the reason we're suggesting change so much
'Cause we
is
see it already
because
happening.
we see it already happening, and the school's in a good place where I think that they can take these risks or like try and change certain things, and they will still, even if it doesn't work, they'll be fine.
Again,
It's a
like,
great school,
I'm
so
I think like you just said, the reason we can suggest these changes is because the high school already has a really good program. I just think these are things that we can do to make it even better and set themselves apart from the rest of the schools around here, and really get kids to want to go to the high school.
Yeah, I think honestly the school's at a good position. I think I don't think anybody hates the high school. I haven't talked to any students who hate the high school.
Yeah.
Or just like some kids will say they didn't like high school, but that's just like them. I think it's now more than ever, I think the school should focus on how can we be a great school? How can we be a better option than other schools?
Yeah.
Rather than how can we be
An option.
an option?
How can we be the option, not an option?
100%.
Yep.
So yeah, I guess that kind of wraps up our thoughts on
Yeah.
academics. Any final thoughts?
No, I think you pretty much just summarized them up.
Yeah, no, so that's
Yeah.
all of our suggestions or everything that I have. So thank you for listening.
Yeah, thank you.
Tune into our next episode, athletics episode. Special guest, Patrick Stokes, will be coming on.
Yep.
Class president of the senior class, too, so he'll have a good perspective. So
yeah.
thank you for listening, and tune in next time. Thank you.
Thank you.